What's up, Roulette Fools? Brent with AOB here. Okay, back day 27, session 27. We're going to stay on the 9th Street train-ish for one more session before we jump to a different strategy. This is Millipede, okay? Now, it's covering 27 numbers like before, but you'll see if you look at the chip placements, we have 2 units on the streets for 9 streets, okay? 2 units, 2 units, 2 units. Then we add 1 unit on the 6th line or the double street between them, okay? So effectively what's happening is these edge goalpost winners, 25 street and 1 street, they're profitable, but they don't pay as much. We really want to hit these 7 streets in the middle like that one, which pay better. And I'll take you to our screen here in just a second. Let's go look at our roulette analyzer and see how this playing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on 5 rounds so that if we're over here, we don't miss a bet, even if we lose. All right, let's get over to our tool. Okay, here's our tool. So first of all, many thanks. The Clever Bets boys made this tool exact to our requirements. I'm absolutely in love with this thing. If you haven't checked it out, www.allonblack.net. Hit up Clever Bets, cleverbets.org. They have an amazing tool over there. Jump in our Discord. We have discounts, and we've been giving away a Clever Bet app and custom strategy a lot. So we're going to be giving more away. Okay, so here we go. Let's do Millipede. Now, if you log in, if you create a username and password for our site, you can actually save your bets. I'm gonna throw it up there. Here is Millipede. So this is what we got: the 2 units on the streets, and then the double street or 6 line in between. Look at that. I'm even throwing out 6 line just because of Casino Matchmaker. All right, and you can see the payouts here. If it hits on these here, you're making 40 cents versus $1 profit if you hit. So pretty significant boost on these versus if you were just, if you hit the outside bets, okay? I'm playing on a standard table. This one isn't as French Le Partage friendly, but you can make this Le Partage friendly or not. You can make this for Le Partage. It's just a little bit more, but we're going to place on a standard wheel. All right, let's take a look at our wax. You can see our wax on this one are at the other end, basic 9 streets as far as the wax go. All right, let's get back to it. All right, looks like we won our bet so far, and I'm going to let it just play out the next couple of bets. We're doing real well. Why that's doing that, let's go take a look at our Excel sheet. All right, looking at this, we left off at $228. We had that banger last hit last time. We got a $14.40 session. What we're shooting for today is our 10%. This is our target goal, not 10%, but 5%. I keep saying 10% because in my mind, the way I get to the daily goals, I just calculate 10%, then take half of that because 10%, you're just moving the decimal. So we're looking at $11.41 is what we're looking at. Let's get it. All right, there's a loss. So I'm going to go ahead and let it rebet. And then I am going to double up on this. I'm not going to do a triple because we're going to hope that we hit here and it'll pay it off sooner. So if we win this one, then go back down to base bet, we'll end up in profit instead of even if we hit these inside winners and not the 2 goalpost winners, the 1 street and the 25 street. And I'm going to play this exactly like I normally play my Centipede 1 and Centipede 4, which is, this is Millipede 1. If we lose 2 in a row, so if we lose this one, we're going to flip over to the other end, but we don't. We hit it. There we go. And now I'm going back down to base bet. What's up, fools? Brent with AOB here. Got some extra cash you can afford to play with? Join our top-tier gambling site, raised.com, using my code and unlock amazing perks. Enjoy exclusive VIP transfers, daily affiliate cash giveaways, a paid leaderboard to boost your winnings, end-of-the-month lottery for big cash prizes, and Fans Friday, where we pool our money and I play for you during a live stream. Plus, score awesome AOB merchandise and join the best gambling community out there. Truly, we're like family. Jump into our Discord and see what we're all about. Sign up today and start earning free money. Let's effing go. If we do get another whack here, though, it's 2 whacks before recovery. I'm going to flip over to Millipede 4, which basically just flips this entire thing. Starts from the very end, working our way left. It'll leave the 1, 4, and 7th Street open. All right. Hey, don't forget, if you remotely enjoy these videos, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and throw a comment in there. Like I said, the YouTube gave us another strike. We're just coming back from that strike. That's our 4th strike those folks have given us. All right, there's a nice number, another hit. 4 strikes. Oof. So anyway, we're being heavily nerfed. Really appreciate it. Just take your mouse, click. It doesn't cost anything. Doesn't cost anything. But more importantly, jump in our Discord. We are doing live streams 7 days a week right now on kick.com. So jump into it. We are giving away money. We are doing so many bonus buys, like I told you in the last session, that everyone who has been entering in the giveaways has had at least one bonus buy that they're eligible for, that they participate in. Now you get part of the profits out of that. That's how that works. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to stay here because we already recovered. And I'm going to double it. But you know what? I'm going to be a little aggressive. I'm going to go ahead and do super martingale on this one too. Because if we hit in here, this is going to be a nice win. It'll push us up. So let's see if we can get a win here. If not, this will be our 2nd loss. We'll flip over to Centipede 4, which will be going from right to left and leave these first 3 streets open. All right, let's go. Yeah. So get on. We're AllonBlack 19. AllonBlack 19. AllonBlack 1919 on Kick. So jump on to Kick. All right, there we go. Booyah. All right. Go back down to base bet. And that way you'll get notifications. And if you sign up on our Discord, you'll be notified when we go live. All right, 7 days a week right now. Oof. All right, let's get going. And most days it's noon. Well, in fact, pretty much every day of the weekdays, Monday through Friday, except for Thursday, because that's our night stream. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we stream at noon Pacific Standard Time. Thursday is Thursday, our AOB at night. That starts at 7 p.m. And gosh darn it, I didn't even get my count up clock going on here. So we have 9. We're just going to add another maybe 6 minutes to our count up there. And because we're still trying to time box at 15 minutes, remember? Okay, I was in our live stream, I was starting to tell a story, but I got sidetracked with another story. I don't know why it had popped in my head when I was a state trooper, but I ended up pulling over this lady for, well, at the time, potentially a DUI, right? So, because she's swerving, I pull her over, and you get to the window. And it's so funny. Sometimes when you pull them over for a DUI, it can be very difficult to determine if they are intoxicated to a point where they, A, shouldn't be driving, or B, are going to do a breath test and have a 0.08 or higher. That's Oregon. Most states are 0.08. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to tell. And you gotta kind of make a decision just based on talking to them. All right, there's an edge win, so that pays less. Remember, that only pays 40 cents. All right, so I walk up, and you sort of get lucky on some of them, right? Because you go up, and she rolls the window down, or, you know, whatever. I don't remember if it was crank or digital, but woof, this smell of hard alcohol comes just out. And she looks up, and her eyes are so glossy, you know, and her speech was so slurred. And now what the funny thing about that is, and I don't know why it's the default answer, but anytime you ask somebody when you pull them over, how much have you had to drink tonight? 2. What's up with 2? Why not 1? Maybe 2 makes it sound like, you know, 1 doesn't sound realistic. Who would just have 1 drink? 2 drinks. And I stopped. She's like, I only have 2 drinks. So I'm like, get her driver's license, registration, insurance, which was an extremely arduous task from someone who was as inebriated as she was. And which is so dangerous. I mean, man, I've seen DUI accidents where the person has killed themselves. I've seen DUI accidents where they have hit other people. We had a good, close family friend. My friend that I grew up with, his father was hit head on by a DUI, died. Don't do it. We're in an age where there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's so many options to get yourself to and from without having to drive. All right, there's a loss. We're going to go 3x again. 1, 2, click my favorites for 3. Anyway, so I laugh about it now because the interaction was funny, but there is nothing funny about it, okay? So after I run her play, I mean, she comes back clean, nothing wrong with her as far as the driver's license, insurance, and registration. So I get back, asking her a couple more questions. Right off the bat, I'm not shining the light in her eyes, but I'm shining my flashlight so that it's, I can at least see her face. It's illuminated, but I'm not gonna spotlight you. It's not an interrogation. And you are looking for something called nystagmus. Now, what nystagmus is when your eye, for a person who is not intoxicated, if your eye tracks left and right, it's smooth. It's like a smooth ball bearing. It just goes like this. Your eyeball will just rotate. When you start drinking, you get something called nystagmus, which means your eye no longer runs smoothly. It jitters like this. Almost if it's like going in clicked intervals. It just doesn't go like this. Click, 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 click. And then if you concentrate to the left or to the right and you hold your eye in that position, your eye will bounce. It'll do something like this. Your eyeball will bounce, okay? So you'll see the pupil in the eye kind of bouncing like that. So just illuminating her eyes as she's talking, I can already see her eye with massive nystagmus. Right? Oh, come on. Okay, where are we at here? I'm sorry. I'm so embroiled in this thing because I don't know why it hit me the other day, why I started thinking about this. Remember, we're going for 5% today, which is about $11.50. We're time boxing it. We got to add another 6 minutes to that. So we're about almost at 11 minutes now. We're going to stop right thereabouts. Even if we haven't hit our 5%, that's perfectly okay. Our target again, 3 to 5% is what I like. 3 to 5% is what I suggest for you, starting even lower if you're just beginning, okay? Oh, yes, we got it, but it was an edge win, so that's not going to quite do it for us. So we're going to rebet, because remember, these edge wins, these goalpost wins pay significantly less. 4 units versus, what did we say it was, a buck? A buck over there, so 4 units versus 10 units. I believe that was the ratio out. Anyway, so she's obvious. I already know she's going to fail, but you still go through the process because you're also building a case for court, right? You don't want to just immediately arrest her on suspicion of DUI and you go, well, she was having nystagmus. You don't want to do that, right? You want to build your full case while you're out there on the road. So obviously I say, well, would you be willing to step out and do field sobriety tests? That's when you get out of your car and that's when the cop is having you, do all those types of things. And she gets out of the car and wouldn't you know it, she's wearing like 4-inch stiletto high heels. So not only can she not walk, she can't walk in those. So I was like, that's actually bad news for me, right? Because she could use that in court as saying, well, no kidding, I couldn't walk a straight line. No kidding, I couldn't do this, have my balance. I was in these high stilettos. So she didn't have to, but just on a whim, I said, that seems kind of dangerous. Would you mind? Would you be willing to take your shoes off? The road was really, it was late at night. There was no one on the road, and the road, the asphalt was nice and smooth. It wasn't like it was going to hurt her feet. I just on a whim just said, would you be willing? Would you mind taking your shoe off? That looks kind of dangerous. And of course, she's wasted. She's like, yeah, no problem. Oh, phew. All right, we are cooking here. We are cooking. Remember, we're going for $11.50 as our target of 5%, but we are already well within a really nice profit here just to stop, okay? And we are now approaching 14 minutes coming up. So we are only going to do a couple spins more, or if we get miss, 1 recovery and we're done. If it keeps going 2 misses, we may just cancel it right there and take our profit and take our ball and go home. Oof. Usually I'm excited about zeros these days because I'm playing on the French Lepartage table, and I'm rooting for the zero because that's a banger number for my strategies now. Anyway, she agrees to it, takes her shoes off, still can't walk worth a darn, right? I mean, you know you got it when you've stopped field sobriety tests literally after the first test starts because they are so bad that you're done. You know, I had a guy that blew, what did he blow? He blew 0.32. That's like dead. All right, we're at $13. We are at, we're right around the 14 minutes. I'll give it another thing. So anyway, she just couldn't even stand up. And that guy that I stopped that blew a 0.32. I mean, that's insane. That was my highest blood alcohol content I ever arrested. He literally got out of the truck, said he had 2 drinks too. His whole floorboard in his truck was filled with an empty fifth and beer cans. He literally gets out opens up his truck door and falls down. Oh no, we didn't want to end on that way. I wanted to end on a good one. All right, let's hope we can get a win here. And we might get ourselves into trouble just because I'm yapping and wanted to finish the story. More for my benefit than yours, just because it was on my head. Anyway, yeah, this guy, he was swerving all over the freeway. He had an old beat up, like a F-150 Ford, an old one with this camper, sort of homemade camper shell on the back. And he was swerving so much across 3 lanes on a interstate freeway. I had truck drivers on the CB contacting me going, man, you got to get out here. You need to get out here. All right, that's it. If I can remember, I'll finish up that story later. Needless to say, I did arrest that woman for DUI. And needless to say, she pled guilty and got convicted. So, you know, unfortunately, oftentimes they are repeat offenders. They don't learn. So, all right, look where we're at here. We ended up at a total of 241.56. Let me bring that up on the chart here. So 241.56. Awesome. That means we are 1340, well above our 5% again for the second day in a row. And we did it with pretty ease. I mean, with relative ease. Look at this graph. I mean, that is a good looking graph, especially for 9 streets. 9 streets can tend often to have a graph that looks like this. That looks like an EKG monitor. When you get in these ruts, it just goes back and forth. You recover, lose, recover, lose. This one, we recovered pretty easily. And that's thanks to, in part, to the Millipede, because that, if we did hero progressions and you hit that, man, not only does that recover, that goes into profit nicely, as you can see on these pieces right here. All right, that's it for today. We're going to get off 9 streets for the next session, and we're going to do something completely different. I really want to break this up for you. We might go in themes, 5 streets, outside bets, and show a couple different ways of playing those and keep them together maybe. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button. If you want, if you have disposable income, get on Raised, become an AOB affiliate. We're giving away money to all our affiliates, even more money than we give away to just the normal people that are not affiliates in our live streams. All right, that's it for today. Be good humans. Do not drink and drive, okay? And if you see someone out on the road, contact local law enforcement. They will send somebody out there. Tail them at a distance so that the law enforcement, when they get to you, you can stay on the phone with dispatch. I've done that. It's amazing to see someone get pulled over and you helped, potentially save a life, an accident, something along those lines. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.